Hello and welcome to SCANS eCampus. SCANS eCampus is a gold-approved learning partner of ACCA. On this channel, we bring you demo videos of different courses available at SCANS eCampus. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get notifications of additional videos and hit the like button.
This video will cover techniques for questions with business risk and audit risk. Just a quick reminder, remember section A of the AAA exam is going to have a significant portion from the planning stage of audit. In terms of business risk, a typical requirement would ask you to evaluate the risks faced by the client. A very easy rule to remember is business risks are normally 2 marks per risk. When I say 2 marks, that is only for a well-developed risk. So for example, if the requirement is for 12 marks, you'd be looking for about 6 to 7 well-explained risks. You need to, in terms of answering techniques, you need to start off by identifying the risk from the scenario. When I say identify, I don't mean you have to copy-paste the entire 3-4 lines. Just pick up the keywords to start off your answer with. And then go on to explain the problem that this might cause for the management. Please remember, this is business risk, so you need to think from the management's perspective. So for example, the problem could be that this is going to lead to cash flow difficulties. It could be it's going to have an impact, a negative impact on my reputation. It could be that it's going to decrease my revenue in the future. It could be that it could increase my expenses in the future. So you need to conclude by giving the exact problem or a rough idea of a problem that this could cause in the future. If you just pause the video for a while and read how this has been written, when I say information from the case, this is just a random example from one of the past exams. The fact that the group offers a luxury product aimed at an exclusive market is identification. And then you go on to explain the business risk. So because their activities are not diversified, a decline in demand is going to impact their profitability and cash flows. Again, you could develop it further by saying that because this is sensitive to economic problems, any recession is going to have an impact on the inflows, liquidity, and revenue of the organization. So for business risk, half a mark for starting off or picking up the key risk from the scenario, and then a further 1.5 mark for you to develop it to explain the problems it could cause for the client or the management. For audit risks, again, remember this includes risk of material misstatement and detection risk. But for risk of material misstatement, the technique that you need to use has some very, very easy marks. Please start off by identifying the risk from the scenario. Then if a specific amount is given, for example, say goodwill of 100,000, then calculating and commenting on the materiality. Please remember, there are no marks for simply saying this is 7% of total assets. If you just stop your sentence here, that's a 0, even if the calculation is correct. You need to conclude by saying this is 7% of total assets and therefore material. You then go on to talk about the relevant accounting treatment. So what the accounting treatment should be for that particular account balance, class of transaction or disclosure. And then you need to explain the impact. Again, the impact is basically what you were supposed to do to begin with. The rest are techniques and easy marks. So be very specific. If you're worried, so if I just take an example of development expenditure, I went on to write IS 38. You don't have to mention the name of the standard at all. According to the reporting framework, development expenditure can only be capitalized if certain criteria is met. For example, there's an intention to complete, etc., etc. The risk is that the criteria might not have been met and therefore assets are overstated and expenses are understated. So if I write this down over here, the risk is that criteria not met. This is going to be half a mark. Therefore, assets are overstated because I've incorrectly capitalized this. This is half a mark. And expenses understated. This is another half mark. So you lose out on very, very easy marks if you don't write your answers to risk in the format which is written over here. There's 1 mark for accounting treatment and 1 mark for comment on materiality. Just remember, there's certain transactions, for example, transactions with directors, related party transactions, which are material by nature. So be slightly alert that you get marks for writing that as well. Please make sure you don't end up writing everything is material by nature. There are very specific things that you should know from your preparation stage. I've just put up an example of risk of material misstatement. Again, this is identification by saying the brand is recognized as an intangible asset. It's purchased, that's absolutely fine, but it's still recorded at original cost. Because the amount was given, you would calculate the materiality. It's material at 7.4%. Then you talk about the relevant accounting treatment. Please remember, there are absolutely no marks for talking about the criteria because this is an acquired brand. This has nothing to do with criteria. You can capitalize it. So my concern is basically about amortization. So you go on to say, according to the reporting framework, if it has a finite useful life, it has to be amortized. The risk is that the non-amortization is incorrect, and then go on to explain asset is overstated, expenses are understated. So this is how you actually get your mark over here. So 1 mark, 0.5, 0.5, and then 0.5. Easiest marks if you follow the technique. I'm now going to debrief a question from one of the past exams. We could just bring that up. All right. So again, I've mentioned the attempt. So I'd want you to stop and read the case study once. The first time you read the case study, you're basically only understanding what has happened. You will then go on to read it the second time to look for the answers. Now, if I look at the requirement over here, when I read the case study, I understood that for the first part, I have to evaluate business risks for 8 marks. And then I have to talk about risk of material misstatement for 18 marks. So the examiner has specified risk of material misstatement. That basically means there are no marks for detection risks. She's only asking you to talk about ROM. Risk of material misstatement has specific techniques. So very easy marks if you follow those techniques. So I read the information. I've understood what the client is doing. I've understood that the year end is 28th February 2019. I then go on to read the rest of the question. Once I've done that, I'm now going to be looking for, okay, this is where the technique starts. Please try and follow this. Trust me, students tend to struggle less if they do what I'm going to say next. Please don't try and find both things together. The first time when you are looking for business risks, only read the question from the management's perspective. So for my part A, 8 marks, I'm not an accountant, I'm not the auditor, I need to think like the management. I have to put myself in their shoes. So when I start reading this, you need to make sure you only focus on the problems that could be faced by the management based on the information that is given over here. So keeping all of this in mind, I'm going to start reading this now. The business background paragraph was given. The first point I would pick up is health and safety regulations. So I'm going to identify that by saying they have to follow quite a few health and safety regulations. Stop yourself for a second and think of the problems it could cause. Again, if they do not comply with the health and safety regulations, their license could be cancelled. It could have an impact on the reputation, or you would have to incur lots of extra cost for training the employees to follow the health and safety regulations. So some of these impacts will need to be discussed to get to for this particular risk. So starting off with saying it's a highly regulated company, the risk is that if they don't comply with health and safety regulations, these are the problems that the business could face. In the next paragraph, it talks about how there are some corporate governance issues. So I'm going to combine these two together. Now, important part to remember is, again, I'm thinking from the management's perspective. So the fact that the internal auditor reports to the finance director. So the internal auditor is not independent. They do not have an audit committee. These are both corporate governance weaknesses, and the simple impact is you're not following best practices. You are looking to list in the future, which basically means, so they did, when I was reading the question, it did mention that they're seeking a flotation. So in the future, the business might struggle to get the flotation or comply with listing requirements if they're not following corporate governance guidelines. On top of that, another problem that this could cause for the business is, obviously, because of a lack of a proper internal department, they might not be able to identify improvement areas or identify fraud or error. Remember, fraud and error is the business's problem as well, and an internal audit department is going to monitor controls and give recommendations. So my second business problem is best practice regarding corporate governance is not being followed, and these are the problems that they might face in the future. By the way, a lot of students ended up thinking there's a problem regarding this. There's absolutely no issue whether if you were working for a rival company in the past, that was the past. That's actually a good thing, because that means this NAD has the relevant industry experience. So read the question very, very carefully. He's not working simultaneously. This Redback would not have been stupid enough to actually hire them if they had been working for a rival company currently as well. I then go on to read the rest of the business background. Couldn't really find too many problems for the business. I move on to the heading, business developments in the year. Now, the first line is an easy 2 mark. This is a competitive industry. So again, simply saying this is competitive is not going to give you marks. You need to talk about specific problems that this could cause for the business. So for example, there could be pressure for them to cut prices in the future. So of course, their revenue is going to go down. They'll have to maybe spend money for marketing. So whatever impact or problem we want to explain, the fact that in a competitive market, I'll have to be continuously on my toes, and if I'm not, I could have problems in the future is my third business risk. I then go on to read the rest of this page. They have 3,000 new members, and I am now slightly getting concerned about capacity issues. Again, I'm the management and I'm thinking from the business's perspective, and combined with the fact that later on in the question, they did mention a government initiative as well. I'm worried that the business might be facing capacity issues. So the next business problem is, am I going to be able to keep my customers satisfied in terms of the numbers that are increasing and the quality of the facilities that I offer? I've read the advertising campaign. I'm happy for you to pick up the athlete over here and talk about reputational risks associated with this athlete. So if he does something wrong, my business would be affected. It'll be a slightly weak business risk, but I'm happy to give that mark as well. Now on the next page, this is where the government initiative is basically mentioned. And so for number 5, I'm now worried about what if I don't meet the conditions of the grant. So I've already spoken about the capacity issues this would cause. I'm not going to get marks again. But on top of that, my concern is if I do not meet the requirements in terms of, for example, the hours that need to be allowed to these people free of cost, or the recording or the reporting, then all of this grant is going to be repayable, which is going to cause huge cash flow problems for me. So this time around, I'm worried about the repayment of this grant and the associated issues by offering this in terms of capacity, and my existing members being upset because there are too many people in that gym. They have introduced a new system, easiest marks. I'll have to incur cost of training. That's absolutely fine. But on top of that, again, I'm also concerned about inaccurate reporting. I could also talk about cybersecurity issues. So you can mention all problems associated with the introduction of a new data management system. Again, please remember, I'm discussing this purely from the business's perspective. I look at the extract given. A bit of analysis is very, very important. My revenue has increased by 17.8%. By the way, I get marks for this calculation as long as I go on to link it to some business risk as well, or later on to risk of material misstatement. So as long as I link it, I get marks for these calculations as well. My PBT, if you look over here, has gone up by 50%. That seems quite odd. And the most problematic part is my cash. If you look over here, my cash has gone down from 5.6 to 1.4 million, and all of this combined, I am slightly worried about overtrading and therefore cash flow issues or cash management issues in the future. So when your sales are going up, your PBT is going up, but you're not getting the money, possibly overtrading, and you're going to be facing liquidity problems in the future. So when I talk about all of this, I'm now basically talking, again, this is point number 6. This is primarily from the business's perspective. Please remember, guys, I understand this has 8 marks. So I'm looking for 4 to 5 well-developed risks. But please, in this exam in particular, do not forget to time manage. I would recommend a guideline of 1.5 minutes per mark. That means for an 8-mark question, 12 minutes is the maximum you should allow yourself. So within 12 minutes, write as many well-explained business risks as you can and then move on to part B. There's no point in writing 12 business risks when you know that the maximum marks you'll get are 8 and you're going to struggle with completing your paper as you go forward as well. So once I read all of this, I'm now going to go back and read the question again, this time looking for risks of material misstatement. So the second time I actually read this question again, because I've read it once, a quick go through to understand what had happened. Then I was quickly going through this to find business risks. I'm now going to talk about the risk of material misstatement. For 18 marks, is there a specified number? The answer is absolutely not. Remember, there are techniques that need to be followed, and following the 1.5 minutes per mark rule, I am going to spend 27 minutes in looking for and writing down answers to risk of material misstatement. I would have spent about 12 minutes over here and then 27 for risk of material misstatement. Right, I'm back to the same exhibit. By now, I'm quite comfortable with all the things that are written over there. Now again, easiest mark because they're seeking flotation. I'm super worried about manipulation in the financial statements. They'd want to present a better picture, so management bias, revenue could be overstated, expenses could be understated, and we saw that just now. Revenue has gone up, PBT has gone up substantially, and I'm worried these are not genuine increases, and these are going to lead to manipulation, window dressing, creative accounting. The lack of proper corporate governance or proper internal audit and no audit committee, because of all these issues, this increases my control risk, and therefore there could be errors in the financial statements. Remember, audit committees have very specific roles regarding the accounting estimates, accounting policies. They need to monitor they're appropriate and not biased. And if there's no proper audit committee and there's no internal department, then from the financial statements perspective, I'm worried about errors as well. Lots of easy marks over here if you follow the technique as well. Please remember, revenue is automatically a problematic area, but for this company in particular, some of them, or actually 85% of them are in the membership stream. So they'll be paying possibly in advance. So I need to talk about overstated revenue. So you can start off with explaining what IFRS 15 says about revenue recognition in terms of timings, performance obligation, etc. And then go on to talk about risks. I'm worried from the auditor's perspective because there are multiple streams. There's cash revenue, there's subscription, then there's unpaid from the government initiative extra, etc. And therefore, I'm concerned that because of all these factors, your revenue could be overstated. So lots of easy marks when you discuss possible risks in recording of revenue. I then go on. This is again easiest marks. They've made an investment of 12 million in new gym equipment. Very easy to follow the ROM format over here. There's an amount, so you can comment on its materiality. You then go on to talk about IAS 16 and the criteria for capitalizing capital expenditure. And then the risk is that the criteria has not been met. So in other words, you're capitalizing revenue expenditure, assets could be overstated and expenses could be understated. So over here, I'm concerned about whether this has been correctly capitalized or not. So writing down my answer in that format. Very easy marks from your basic accounting. They've paid 1 million to the famous athlete, but this is for 2 years, guys. Remember, this has an amount again given, so I can comment on the materiality, but there's a very obvious risk that they've not spread this over 2 years. Remember when they paid the cash, so they would have credited cash at bank, the 1 million is okay. The risks relate to the debit. They have expensed all of this in the current year, which is incorrect. Part of it should have gone as an expense for the year, and the rest should have been a prepaid expense, which is basically an asset. So the risk is that they have recorded this incorrectly and assets and profit are understated. Now this time around, asset is understated and your profit is also understated. Because remember, you should not have recognized all of the expense. By doing so, by recognizing all of the 1 million, your profit is understated and obviously your assets are understated as well. This is primarily an error. They would not really do this on purpose. Moving on to the next one. Easy marks. Once again, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but anyone who's done their revision kit would understand that whenever they talk about grants, they're easiest marks over here. Okay, so 2 basic categories. Number 1, income being recognized too early. Remember, you cannot recognize all of the grant in the current year. By doing so, again, your liabilities are understated and profit is overstated. So you start off with commenting on materiality of the 2 million. You go on to talk about the accounting treatment that you'll have to match it with costs. And so you can't do it, recognize the income in this year. It's for 3 years. You have to spread it over 3 years. The risk is that they've recognized the income too early, and therefore my first category is your liabilities are understated and your profit is overstated or income is overstated. That does not look like understatement. Let me just write that in. All right. So remember, money is coming in. I would have debited cash, super, but what do I credit? Can I credit all of the 2 million in P&L? The answer is no. I have to spread it over 3 years. So part of it comes under income in P&L. The rest is my liability for the next 2 years. Additional extra marks for talking about the repayment and provisions. Provisions related to repayment. Remember, we spoke about the risk that the criteria might not have been met. And if that's the case, then you need to recognize a provision for any fines, penalties, or the repayment that might need to take place. The new system, again, easy marks, very frequently tested, control risks and therefore errors because of the new data management system. Remember, this is the system which is going to be used to report to the government as well. So it's not just errors in recording my own figures in the financial statements. If the government reporting is incorrect, the grant might be repayable and therefore a provision for fines, penalties. So that link comes either way. When I read the rest of the information, there's certain concerns about the expenses over here. If you look over here, my staff costs have gone up by 7%. Just going to write down, that's number 8. So my staff costs have gone up by 7%. Marketing expense, surprisingly, is the same, which is odd considering they've just paid some money to an athlete. And my maintenance and repairs have gone up by 3.8%. Now remember, I'm already concerned about manipulation. And if I compare this with an increase in revenue of 17.8%, I'm worried that these might be understated. Now step back for a second and think. This is the service sector. They're expanding. Their staff should be going up because of course they're expanding. They're getting more members as well. Their gym facilities would require more repairs and maintenance because they're being used a lot more. So these expenses should have increased by a greater percentage. So by the way, this increase by 7%, increase of 3.8%, you get separate marks for the calculations as long as you link them to the understatement of expenses as well. All right. I then go on to notes number 4, which again has some very easy marks. So the examiner was obviously in a good mood in this attempt. This is where there are 2 separate risks. So capital expenditure was financed through borrowings. There's a 30 million loan repayable at 34 million. So this is risk number 9. And this is where I can very easily talk about the disclosure requirements along with the accounting treatment. So remember, their amounts, so you can comment on the materiality as well, but my concern is primarily the 4 million as well. So starting off with the easy part, easiest marks for talking about disclosure requirements. So the risk is that the disclosure requirements have not been met. Please go on to give at least one example of what should have been in the disclosure. The second one is regarding the 4 million, the difference between 30 and 34. Remember, any finance cost associated with the deep discount has to be spread over the term of the loan according to IFRS 9. And the risk is that finance cost has not been recognized and therefore your finance cost is understated and your non-current liability is also understated. So easiest mark over there. Again, there's a loan was advanced to the company from its managing director. So a loan from the managing director. This is a related party transaction. So any transactions with director, in addition to the normal double entry, this requires disclosure. Again, please mention what goes into the disclosure as per IAS 24. You should know that from your earlier studies. And the risk is that the disclosure is inadequate or missing, and therefore the disclosures of financial statements are misstated. In this question in particular, the examiner also gave extra marks for calculation of finance cost associated with this loan. Remember, we've taken some of the loan from the finance director. It was a 1 million loan at 3%. You need to time apportion it. This comes up to 20,000. This 20,000 is not material by amount, but it's material by nature because it's a related party transaction. So you get extra marks for commenting on the materiality of this 20,000. So separate marks for materiality of 4 million, separate marks for materiality of this related party transaction interest, because I'm now worried that this is material by nature and this would not have been recorded as expenses in my P&L. So just to wrap up now, please remember there's a separate video which talks about audit risk with analytical procedures. But just to recap, time management is the key issue. A lot of students would come back and say they were able to identify the risks and yet could not pass the paper. Please remember, identification barely gets you half a mark, if even that. So what's important is that you follow the technique and write the answers, because for each risk with the figures given, you could get up to 3.5 marks if you follow the format that we discussed at the beginning of the video.
If you like this video, visit our website www.scansecampus.com to purchase the complete course at affordable prices. Register today at no cost and access our free 10-day trial.